In 2014, I was using a walker, a service dog, and a full-time caregiver. So when I say you can absolutely reverse medical challenges with natural ways, I am living proof.
Hello, and welcome to the Jocelyn Moore Show. I'm your host, Jocelyn Moore, and as always, we're here to inform, inspire, and entertain with dynamic conversations that matter. Today, we tackle an important question: how to stay relevant over 50 in the age of AI. My guest is Antoinette Lee, an Army veteran, former IT tech CEO, and the host of the New Normal Big Life podcast.
Hi, Jocelyn. How are you today? I'm
I'm
well.
fine. Thank you. Well, welcome to the show. And to get us started, you've seen the world in the Army. You've been all over the world. I'm sure you have. So where is the next stop for your big life?
Well, it's exciting. I think it's going to be Iceland for an Arctic char, ice fishing, not ice fishing, but fishing expedition. And it's actually going to be my wedding, my honeymoon, because I just got engaged. It is. It's some place I always wanted to go because there's a specific species of fish called an Arctic char that I'd like to fish for. So when we were thinking about where we want to have our honeymoon, that's where we settled on.
Oh, that's great. Okay. So what does stay relevant really mean for someone over 50 in today's AI-driven world?
Well, that's a really good question because a lot of people are a little afraid of AI, and rightly so, because it can be used for evil or good. It's actually a beneficial tool if you don't rely on it too heavy. But staying relevant means staying fresh, current, and able to keep up with our younger counterparts, because I'm 58.
Oh, and I'm okay. That's how I am. Okay. You said the easiest age giveaway is how we speak and write. I know about that. Now, explain that. Recommend some books to help us shift our language towards a more youthful style.
Well, unfortunately, baby boomers and even Gen Xers like me, we tend to use a lot of words, whereas millennials and Gen Z, they use fewer words. They're more concise because they grew up with technology and they understand that you have 3 seconds to capture someone's attention online, or even when you're giving a talk. It used to be if you're giving a public speaking engagement, you would talk about what you're going to talk about initially, and then you'll give your bio, and then you keep going on with your speech. Nowadays, that bio needs to come way later, very short, because everyone's attention span is so short. They want you to get to the point, the key takeaway quickly. Otherwise, you're going to lose them. They'll pick up their phone and start scrolling.
You know, you're absolutely right, because sometimes when I listen to someone, they talking and talking and talking. I'm listening, and then sometimes it's sort of drag. It's sort of drag, and like, when is it going to end? You know what I mean? It does that sometimes.
Absolutely understand what you mean. And, older people like Gen Z, Gen X and older people like boomers and Gen X.
Let's have another word besides older people. I don't like older people. What can we call people like me?
Right. People like us. We tend to use a lot of words. And we love the dramatic pause. People don't have time for that anymore. They want you to get to it.
Sometimes my sister said, Jocelyn, get to the point. You're just dragging it out. My family will laugh at me sometimes about that. Here she go again. Here she go again.
Right. So I recommend 2 books. One is called Smart Brevity and one is Hook Points, because Smart Brevity will teach you how to speak in fewer words, get to your point very quickly. And Hook Points will tell you how to grab people's attention in a 3-second world, because you have 3 seconds to get and hold someone's attention.
Absolutely. That's why sometimes when I go to like a graduation, I didn't want to go to my own graduation because they talk and they just talk and talk. It's like, hurry up. And I listened to some people shorter and it got to the point and it was good. You know,
But,
your mind sort
yeah.
of travels someplace else when someone continues
Yes.
to talk. And at the end, people clapping, you go to, oh, till you clapping too.
Right. You're
towards the
catching
end
up to the conversation.
Right, that's true. Okay, our brain health is huge for a long life, right? So what are the key habits that keep us sharp and prevent Alzheimer's?
Well, I just recorded an episode with board certified neurologist, Dr. Ryan Williamson, and he talked about what he calls the brain method. And what he said for longevity and good cognition over time, you need B for breath work. That's meditation, which reduces stress and it boosts your frontal lobe connectivity, which is mood regulation. Those kinds of things. R is rest. So quality sleep heals the brain each day. A, staying active. So activities that spark neuroplasticity for better memory. And then I is intake, whole foods, micronutrients like vitamins, minerals, and supplements. And he also recommended 10 milligrams of creatine monohydrate taking twice a day. So what I do is I turn my creatine into an electrolyte drink, which prevents migraines. It will prevent fatty liver. It will stop kidney stones from forming, and it also reduces inflammation and it heals your brain because it crosses the blood-brain barrier to heal the brain. And so if you add your creatine monohydrate, 5 milligrams, 8 ounces of water, 3 pinches of sea salt, and half a fresh lemon. Squeeze that, drink that with your 8 ounces of water twice a day, morning and evening. That's for your brain longevity and also has other health benefits.
I had a guest on the show. She's been on several times. She's a doctor and she wrote a book about, the different foods. And she was talking about Alzheimer's. And the list she was listing, I said, I might as well throw everything out of my refrigerator. Cause she had a long list. Because I see and I hear a lot of people who have dementia. It's a lot of people who have.
I can explain why.
Okay, explain.
So here's why so many people have dementia, and I am at high risk for Alzheimer's and dementia because I've had a traumatic brain injury. And so chronic inflammation is one of the things that is the precursor to a lot of preventable diseases like dementia, Alzheimer, obesity, high or chronic high or chronic low blood sugar, high blood pressure, heart disease, and some forms of cancer are all linked to chronic high levels of inflammation. So when your body is inflamed, your brain gets swollen and it impacts your overall cognitive abilities. So that leads you to dementia or Alzheimer's down the road.
Guess a lot. I read about a woman. I think you heard about her. B. Smith. She owned a restaurant. It's a black woman. She owned a restaurant.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yes. I went to a restaurant. She has one. She had, I don't know if it's still there. She had one, Washington, D.C. at the station at the train station. She had one there. And it was so sad to hear about the story when she was going through. Of course, she passed, later on. But that was so sad. I've been sad with anyone, but just to hear about that and,
Well,
go ahead.
If you want to improve your chances of having better brain health and longevity, do the creatine monohydrate. And here's 2 other things that I've done. So there's stem cell therapy in a patch. So less than $100 a month. You can activate your own stem cells to heal your body. And I can talk to you about it. It's on my website. If you go to nnbl.blog and click on the Limitless Vitality link, you can learn more about it. And there are 2 types of phototherapy patches. Just a little patch you put on your body. Wear it for 12 hours, take it off for 12 hours, and your body will heal itself. And my fiance told me that he watched my face age in reverse over the past 7 years.
Oh, really?
In fact, from my brain injury, I used to have a wrinkle right down. It looked like a lazy S right down the middle of my forehead.
Mm-hmm.
That's gone in less than a year.
Wow. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna ask you this question. Um, how long ago was your injury? I'm just wondering.
1990.
Oh, 1990. Oh, that's a long time. So how you
Yes.
feeling now? You doing
Well, I definitely have to manage a lot of health challenges because of the traumatic brain injury. But in 2014, I was using a walker, a service dog, and a full-time caregiver. So when I say you can absolutely reverse medical challenges with natural ways, I am living proof that that's possible. In fact, when I was 53, I am still a whitewater kayaker, but I was talking on social media about how much I love whitewater kayaking and archery and how it's central to my good health. And sponsors, brands asked me to be their brand ambassador, and they thought I was 35 and I was 53 at the time. So my podcast, New Normal Big Life, is all about natural and integrative medicine and how you can reverse some of your health challenges or at least support your good health without having to use a lot of drugs. I was once on 20 medications. I'm on 0 now.
well, that's the thing about you have all this medication to take for whatever ails you. That's a lot. You know, that's a lot.
Every medication has a side effect or
That's
more.
true,
One or
right?
more, right?
I know. I was telling someone, another guest that takes a medicine, and I hate reading it because it might cause death. Stop breathing. I said, oh my goodness, it's terrifying to read this about the side effects. You know, it's a lie. Your liver might have a heart attack.
Right.
You want us to take this?
Well,
Just in case.
I'll give you a quick example. So when I was living in Colorado, I lived at more than a mile above sea level, and I developed something called hypoxia. It's a chronic low oxygen level, and it was making me very sick. And when I was hypoxic, I had to take some medications, and I took a medication that was helpful, but then it gave me dangerously low blood sugar, and then that dangerously low blood sugar almost put me into a coma. So that's medication can be really, really helpful and life-saving and take away incredible levels of pain. And it has a lot of benefits, but you always have to weigh the benefits with the potential that something could not go well for you. And I've had a number of close calls from medications. When I was on 20 medications, 6 of them were known to cause kidney failure, and my kidneys started failing, but all of my 6 specialists said, you're on a very low dose, your kidneys are going to be fine until they stop working. And then they told me there's no way to reverse the kidney damage, but I reversed the kidney damage with that lemon water that I told you about, that electrolyte drink. That helped me reverse my kidney damage.
Ooh, that's something. Sometimes home remedies work, depending on what the home remedy is, the medication. I'm not telling anybody to get off medication, but sometimes it works. The whole, home remedy works sometimes. They're going out spending all the money.
I have a medical background, and I don't have anything against pharmaceuticals, but you have to carefully know the side effects and how they interact and how you might experience those side effects, because your doctors spend 15 minutes with you, and 6 of them reassured me that you are going to be fine. It's a very low dose, and they were wrong. So I had to be the one to say something's wrong early on, and they fought me on it. Oh no, it's not the medication. That's not it. Your dose is very low, but it was the medication. because we're all unique human beings, and what might be perfectly fine for 1,000 people, that 1,001 person might have a big problem with it.
Ask a question about medicine. I had a doctor, I still have a doctor, and the medication, I said, doctor, I said, I took this medication. I didn't realize it expired, but nothing happened. It was still working. He said, I said, why? He said, well, sometimes it's like that. If it's expired, doesn't mean it doesn't work.
So over time, it can become weaker when it's expired, but most doctors say that it's still good. And I'll give you an example of a life-saving drug I had to use. So I'm very allergic to a few things, and I was at my uncle's house and I had a severe allergic reaction, and my EpiPen was expired, and my doctor was like, you can use it anyway. So, it's fine. It worked.
That's what it happens. Now, why is a balanced daily routine so powerful?
Well, because when you get in the habit of doing beneficial things for your body, it's something that you're going to do consistently, and the consistency is what gives you the improvement. So for example, with that lemon water drink that I told you about, if I only added creatine once in a while, then it's reducing inflammation that helps my brain stay healthy once in a while. If I take creatine every day, twice a day, that consistent habit gives me beneficial effects twice a day, every day.
Oh, really? Oh, it's always very important. It's very important
to stay consistent, just like a workout. A lot of people say, well, I'm exercising, but I'm not losing weight. I'm not shaping up. I'm not getting any stronger. It's the consistency. And you don't necessarily have to do an intense workout all the time, but you have to be consistent with it, and you have to vary it. So for example, people over 50, if you're lifting weights, you might have in your 30s or 40s lift weights every single day, 5 days a week. But people over 50 need to do it every other day. So in the in-between days, you can have a stretching routine, you can do yoga, you can do other things.
Let me see, there are two men. We used to exercise all the time, go to the gym. And we were surprised that they passed. They had a heart attack. I mean, they were faithful, go to the gym all the time. I don't know what happened.
Well, a couple of things could happen. So sometimes a person has a good exercise program, but they are vitamin and mineral deficient, or they are not eating well. So if those people were going to the gym, but they were going home and they're eating processed foods, they were eating foods with a lot of toxic ingredients. I talk about that a lot on my podcast. I have a whole episode where I tell you how to read the product labels, what to look for, and they change the name of the toxic ingredient. So something like MSG, it might say monosodium glutamate, it might say MSG. So you really have to know all the different ways they'll list that toxic ingredient so that you can pull it out of your diet. But in the show description, you can download a printable list that you can take to the store or save it in your phone and start reading those ingredients, because lots of things that we eat will increase inflammation, and then that inflammation gives us some of those preventable diseases.
And I think about that. I had someone on the show who is telling us how to read the labels, because it could be deceiving sometimes. If you don't really know how to, you wonder, why am I getting sick? Why that's happening to me? You don't know how to read the labels correctly.
Right. And then the other way that we bring toxins into our home, not just in our foods, so to prevent eating a lot of toxic ingredients, of course, read the labels, but just buy whole foods also. Stay away from those processed packages in the middle of the store aisle. Stay along the edges where fresh fruits and vegetables and meats and cheeses. are all fresh ingredients and natural ingredients. And then the other thing is, if you're bringing scented candles into your home, you are burning chemicals. That's what creates, unless it says it's naturally scented with real vanilla bean, for example, then otherwise that vanilla scented candle is a combination of chemicals to smell like vanilla. And so that's another way we're bringing in toxic ingredients. Carrageenan is a toxic ingredient that's often found in packaged foods, and it makes things white. So it'll make white bread super white. It'll make your chiclets gum white. It'll also make your hand soap white. So if you're using that white hand soap, check your ingredients. It might have carrageenan, which is a toxic chemical. So you have to think about what you're putting on your body and also in your body and in your home.
When you think about it, it's like, my goodness, what do I do? You have to, like, where do you start? It seems like everything that you do, everything. Someone was expert, well, not an expert, doctor on the show, she said, like, when you get grapes and watermelon, don't get, you think it's much better. I said, yeah, because when I get grapes, I used to get grapes. I would like the grapes without the seeds. She said, no, you want to make sure you get it seeded. Your grapes, your watermelon, seeded, not unseeded. It's just, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Right, because seeds occur naturally in fruits and,
Right.
and vegetables. The seedless variety has been bred to not have the seeds, so it's modified.
Right. That's what she was saying. So moving on, some people over 50 feel intimidated or fearful about AI. So how can they use it as a helpful tool instead of a threat and not to rely on it too much?
Well, AI is going to replace a lot of jobs, and that's just the reality. I'm a writer. I know that AI could replace my job. So far, I've been busier than ever because there are a few things that AI can't do very well. And that thing is that deep human connection. So what I suggest to people is this. If you decide that you're not going to use AI as a stance against it, you're going to be behind the power curve because you can't be as productive as someone who's using AI. For example, if you had to write a report, the person who's using AI can gather all their information for a report very quickly and then start handwriting it and checking those facts, because you do have to check AI because it hallucinates, they say, but it's really like it just makes stuff up. Right. But it can be a very useful tool because you can do a lot of research very quickly, go back and check your facts, and then quickly write your report. What I am suggesting to a lot of people is, if you're worried about job security, already start thinking about, what do I currently know that is very hard to replace through AI? And then you want to make sure your current employer or your customers, if you're an entrepreneur, know that you have those skills. Highlight those skills early and often so that when people are thinking, well, who should we cut? It's not the person with the skills that AI can't easily replace.
We'll talk more about that, because the next question was, as an Army veteran, okay, what is the one human skill AI can never replace? Elaborate more on that.
Emotional intelligence. And you know what? Some of us have high emotional intelligence. Some of us don't. But that's a skill you can work on. You can develop it. So it's kind of like, when I go to, well, first let me tell you a little bit about where I live. I live in a cabin in the woods in the Midwest. Ooh. And when I go places, I'm the only person who looks like me anywhere, right? But people often just will make eye contact with me and make a beeline over to talk to me, and they're super friendly and we have a good time with complete strangers all the time. It's because I think I radiate that emotional intelligence that says, I like people. You could feel it coming off me. I like people. I'm genuinely curious about your story and the things that you're interested in. And if you want to come talk to me about the things that you geek out about, like I might not have any interest of it, but what I do find interesting is how excited you are about that thing that you're interested in, that you're geeking out on. So emotional intelligence is a skill that computers will have a very difficult time replacing, and fine motor skills. So being able to do things with your hands, those are two things that computers or AI will have a difficult time, especially robots, replacing in the future.
I was using, remember one time I was using the AI and I said, that's not right. I said, my bag. Sorry about that. Or I only a machine.
That's funny.
Sometimes it can be a little fun. I said, yes, you are. You're just a machine. Remember
Yes.
that? Okay. Since AI can never replace the human spirit, is that the idea behind the new Normal Big Life podcast, your podcast?
Well, humanity is kind of the big idea. Helping humanity to live better, longer lives is kind of the big idea behind New Normal Big Life. Because here's the thing. Your doctor currently gets 2 hours of nutritional training during medical school. Now, there's been some new changes and that's going to change, but it's going to take a while. And a lot of doctors are not going to embrace that. They may go through the motion of taking the training that they need to take by requirement, but some of them are going to say, that's not the heart of my practice. The heart of my practice is pharmaceuticals, surgeries, and therapies, not nutrition. So it's important for you at home to know your body, to know what natural options are available to you. And I want it to be different from all the other podcasts that talk about natural and integrative medicine. And the thing that makes us different is that we bring on experts. We also rely on my own research and my own medical background. But then we give you a step-by-step plan. This is what you've learned. Here's how you go implement it in your life step-by-step plan. And so when you sign up for our newsletter at nnbl.blog, once a week, direct to your inbox, you'll get access to all of the step-by-step plans over the past 2 seasons that we've collected, plus all of our free ebooks. And in those plans and ebooks, you have the takeaways that all of our experts gave you on how to do the thing that they just taught you about doing, whether it's emotional regulation or filling the gaps between the necessary vitamins, minerals, and supplements. For example, ladies, if you're struggling with menopause, magnesium is your best friend. If you have an irregular heartbeat, magnesium is your best friend. If you're in pain, magnesium is your best friend.
Oh, wow. I always wanted to know, how did you come up with the name for your podcast?
That's such a good question.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. In 2014, I thought I was going to die. And my caregiver said, I'll take you to the emergency room first thing in the morning because, if your airway, is open, you're breathing, your blood is flowing, you have a pulse. So airway, breathing, circulation is all good, then it's not a dire emergency. You don't have to go to the emergency room right now. And so I could breathe. I had circulation, all of those things. So we decided we would wait till the next day. But in my heart, I thought, God, I'm probably not going to make it to the next day. Thank you for the life that I've had, because comparatively, I've lived a good life and I'm ready to go. But if you give me one more day, I'm going to figure out what's wrong with me. I'm going to solve it for myself, and I'm going to turn around and help other people, because my body was so weak and so tired. I had had 4 surgeries, getting ready for the 5th, and I was getting sicker and sicker by the day. So I did wake up that next day. It turns out I was in renal failure, or starting to go into renal failure, kidney failure. We were able to reverse it. And then I started, okay, what am I going to do? I'm starting my new normal today because my old life is never coming back. I can't undo the brain injury or undo the broken back and all the health complications. I can't go back there. What's my new normal going to be? How will my new life look? Who will I surround myself with? So I took myself through this process that I now call the new normal big life process. I decided what my new normal was going to be, and I envisioned a big life. Well, I didn't realize my life was going to be even bigger than I thought. I thought I'm going to get out of this bed. I'm going to go live my life in the woods somewhere and meet a nice fella and live happily ever after. I never thought I'd also become a sponsored adventure sports athlete with multiple top tier brands over 50. Never imagined that. But the rest of that life, the life I'm currently living today, is the exact life I envisioned when I was one day out of my sick bed.
Like it's a new you have a second chance at life and you're not going to blow it. Not saying you were blowing it before. We have the second chance in life. Can I ask you on this person, like, what happened? You had the
Brain injury?
accident, right? Brain injury.
Yes, I was working as an air assault qualified expert medic, and that just means that I'm trained to rappel off of buildings, out of helicopters, down mountains, and give first aid to people. And I was rappelling down a mountain in Korea to help someone in the same conditions that injured him, injured me. And that's how I injured got my brain injury, broke my back, and destroyed some tendons in my shoulder.
So your back is all right. Everything else.
Well, I have chronic pain that's never going to
Never
go
gonna go
away.
away.
By the time I was 30, I already had arthritis from my neck to my tailbone. By the time I was 45, I was losing my memory and my ability to speak and my ability to walk and to care for myself. And I've reversed all of that.
So it's like you had to start all over again. But what you knew before, you had to start life like all over again. And you're doing great.
Well, I didn't completely lose all of my memory. I mostly lost the ability to recall words and speech and fine motor skills.
Oh, okay. But, okay. All right. Well, I was going to ask you about that was doing all of that. What you said you thought that you were going to die. And you have your family, your mother, are they alive?
No, so
They
I was
safe?
actually going through all of this alone
All by
because,
yourself? Oh.
yeah, because my parents had passed away, my older brother had passed away. Yeah. Well, I was a tech CEO at the time, so I had private health insurance. And there were some points where doctors in the civilian community said, I think you should go to the VA for help with certain things because we don't have enough experience with these kind of treatments to be able to help you on some things. So then I had a combination of civilian healthcare and VA healthcare.
Oh, okay. All right. So what has hosting this podcast taught you about yourself, about everything you have going through?
Well, I think it taught me something about myself, but also everyone else. Everything that you need to live the life you want is already inside you. You just need to figure out how to tap into it. And that's what I did with my new normal big life process. And I'll give you kind of a quick example if we have time.
Sure, go ahead.
So after I got engaged, I posted on social media that, I got engaged with the ring and my fiance Matthew, and I got a flood of messages, phone calls, Zoom requests from people I know and even strangers. How did you do it? How do you even date in this age? And Matthew's a millennial. I'm a Gen X. So how can you find someone? How did you get him to commit? And did you have to pick out your own ring? Because the ring is really nice. But everyone wanted to know what's your secret. So I've put together a new normal, big life, let's get you married series for the podcast because so many women contacted me to say, I'm lonely. I want to find someone. It's very hard to meet anybody. And again, when it came to relationships, I took myself through the new normal big life process and cleaned up my relationship style. And now I'm going to be married in August.
Oh, that's wonderful. My birthday month. With that, when people, sometimes, women would say, I want to find someone. And sometimes I have to be careful because You could be blind to something. You might want somebody that bad. That person that, comes on to you, want to meet you, might not be that person. You're just so happy, oh, this person is interested in me. You know
Oh
what I
my
mean?
gosh. I'm so glad you brought that up because I just had a great conversation with personal security and cybersecurity expert Robert
Mm-hmm.
Siciliano. And we talked about that. Dating now is tough. Meeting people's tough. How you trust people, especially in the age of AI, where it's so easy for them to fake a voice that sounds like your child or grandchild or your spouse. And so Robert Siciliano walks you through personal security in the real world, physical security, cybersecurity, how to protect your title from theft, how to protect yourself from romance scams, catfishing, and all of the things. So I hope you'll listen to that episode. It just dropped today. You don't really know him yet.
You don't really know. You don't know him at all. Or he doesn't know you.
You're
So to be
right.
careful. So I hate to say this, it's that time. Okay. So in closing, what outdated belief about aging do you think need to disappear?
Oh my goodness. This is such a great question because, at 50, my parents acted like they were 90. They were already thinking about, moving to a place in the country to sit in their rocking chair and retire. And that's just not what retirement is like, because a lot of
Thank
people
you.
nowadays will have to work through retirement, and people are just active for longer in their lives. And really, your chronological age might be 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, but the way that you carry yourself, your mobility, stability, flexibility, you know how when you see a person over 50, they start to look like they're falling forward because their hip flexors are so tight, their
Right. Uh-huh.
hips are very weak, and so they look like they're falling forward. You have to take care of your body and keep it strong. And so what I want people to remember is you're only as old
Old.
as your inside of your body. So your mental, how you think, how you speak, how you move, how you view life. 50 is the new 25.
It's true. Real quick, I had a cousin, she's deceased now, and she passed in her 80s, but she always say, I'm no old lady, and she dressed good. I mean, she dressed good. She had a split on her side, but it was appropriate. It wasn't bad. But the way she dressed, she looked much younger than her age.
It's important to dress youthful, but don't jump on too many trends at the same time. So I'll give you an example. A couple years ago, it was on trend to have on either a mini skirt, cowgirl boots, a leather jacket, but not all of them together. Pick one trend, because when you put them all together, you just look desperate, like you're working too hard. So pick one trend, stick with that trend, and then don't have every
Oh, we
single
got
trend
you.
going at the same time.
Looking silly like a clown. Anyway, is anything that you're promoting or working on right now? And how can viewers follow you?
Oh, thanks for that. Well, you can listen to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. It's New Normal Big Life. You can find me at nnbl.blog and NNBL Podcasts on X, NNBL Blog on Instagram, and Antoinette Lee MBA on LinkedIn. The project that I'm working on now is Let's Get You Married, no matter your age.
All right. Well, today I want to say thank you very much for being our guest. That was great advice, and we truly appreciate you sharing your expertise. Okay?
Thank you for having me, Jocelyn. This has been so fun.
For our viewers at home watching, if you like what you see, subscribe to the Jocelyn Moore Show. Want to be a guest on our show? Head over to our website, www.jmentertainment.info. On the homepage, click on About and follow directions to be a guest. If you have any questions about today's show or past or future shows, just click contact on our website and submit a message. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, take care and keep watching.